A stave or stave church, I've heard it pronounced both ways, is a medieval wooden Christian church building once common in northwestern Europe. The name derives from the building structure of post and lintel construction, which is a type of timber framing where the load-bearing or pine posts are called stafir in Old Norse. Stave churches were once common in northern Europe. In Norway alone, it was thought about 1,000 to 2,000 were built. Only about 28 or 29 stave churches still exist in Norway. Most over the centuries fell into disrepair or were torn down to make way for larger, more modern styles of churches. In the United States, there are 3 stave churches, which are modern replicas of stave churches that are found in Norway. These 3 churches are located in Moorhead, Minnesota, Minot, North Dakota, and Rapid City, South Dakota. In this video, we will tour the Moorhead and Minot stave churches, and then at the end of the video, we will take you on a tour of a real 900-year-old stave church in Norway, and then we will take a look at a real Viking ship. Stay tuned. This information is from the Historical and Cultural Society of Clay County, Moorhead, Minnesota. The Hopperstad Stave Church. This is a replica of stave churches which were built in and around Scandinavia from the waning years of the Viking Age, the 11th and 12th century, to the beginning of the early modern era around 1500. The technique of using vertical posts or staves to construct massive wooden buildings had been modified over time through several artistic and architectural waves and eventually became an iconic European art form. The Moorhead Stave Church is a full-scale replica of the Hopperstad Stave Church located in Vik, Norway. Built between 1996 and 2001, the Hopperstad Stave Church replica in Moorhead, Minnesota stands as a testament to Norwegian culture and heritage in the Midwest. Conversion to Christianity in Norway occurred by royal decree at the end of the Viking Age. Despite the declaration, many Norwegians still practice their traditional pagan religion, which is why you see carved dragon statues and motifs on the roof of the church and in some of the wood carvings on these churches. Scandinavian stave churches were built during the 12th and 13th centuries. The name comes from the support pillars or staves in their interiors. Structurally, stave churches combine a Catholic, medieval, basilica-style church and a traditional Scandinavian log building. Again, the stylistic dragons were incorporated into these churches from the pagan religions, and they acted as guards against evil. Similar to carved stone gargoyles that are found on many Gothic cathedrals in Europe. The building of this stave church was the brainchild of a South Dakota native named Guy Paulson, whose family immigrated from Norway in 1904. Guy Paulson, along with a team of volunteers, constructed this church. The church was built in the 1990s, took 5.5 years to build, and was dedicated in 1998. It is a full-scale replica. It is a full-scale replica of the church in Norway after which it was modeled. The height is 72 feet. It has 18 27-foot pine columns or staves and is constructed of pine, redwood, and 24,000 cedar shingles. The apse, the conical structure in the middle, rises 30 feet above the top of the church. The Gull Stave Church and Museum, located in Minot, North Dakota's Scandinavian Heritage Park, is a full-size replica of the Gull Stave Church, which was located in Gull, Hallingdal, Norway, and then 100 years ago was moved to Oslo, Norway. This church in Minot is a full-size replica of the original church, which was built in 1250 AD. The church took a year to build and was dedicated on October 10th, 2000. In both the Minot, North Dakota, and the Moorhead, Minnesota Stave churches, notice the amazing woodwork, both on the inside and the outside of the buildings. Yes, it's rustic, very natural looking, and it doesn't resemble your typical European Gothic cathedrals or Renaissance churches or even modern churches in America and elsewhere. But this is typical Scandinavian, Nordic, cultural type churches made of wood, intricate carvings, and amazing detail. Rustic, very natural, with an outdoor mountain alpine feel to it, and therefore are very unique and to be appreciated as their own unique Nordic and Scandinavian art form and style. Now I would like to show you the remnants of an original, authentic, ancient stave church from Norway that we visited on our recent trip there. This church was originally built in 1170 and has been demolished and restored several times since then. These are the remnants of the original church. It now resides in the Sverresborg Folk Museum in Trondheim, Norway. Originally, this church would have been much larger and would have resembled, probably on a smaller scale, but similar to the ones that we viewed previously in this video. And one of the unique things about this church is the wooden baptismal font that was located in the corner just inside the door. This is very old and apparently original to that era. So it's almost 1,000 years old, and it's one of the few remaining stave churches left in the world today.
The entire church, if you remove the walls, you still have a standing church because of the staves, and that's why it's called a stave church. But there are very few stave churches left. There used to be approximately 2,000. Today there's like 27 left. But this is the northernmost stave church in the entire world.
This church is from 1170.
With that white stuff up there, that is paint in the 1600s, or maybe when the church was moved in the early 1700s. And we can't really see the patterns all that clearly, but on the inside over here, we can see flower patterns down to the right better. And there are also some biblical inscriptions on the walls around on the inside as well.
And immediately adjacent to the Hopperstad Stave Church in Moorhead, Minnesota, at the Hjemkomst Center is this replica of a Norwegian Viking ship that was discovered in Norway in 1880. The original Viking ship was thought to have been constructed sometime in the 800s AD. This Viking ship is named the Hjemkomst, also the name of the center which houses it. And construction began in 1974 by a man and his sons, and it sailed from Duluth, Minnesota in May of 1982 and arrived in Bergen, Norway to a hero's welcome 2 months later in the middle of July of that year. The King of Norway greeted the ship in his royal yacht, but because his ship suffered a crack in the hull while making the voyage across the Atlantic Ocean, it was decided to bring the ship back by boat, where it now resides in this museum. Here you see the crack that developed in the hull as the ship was leaving the east coast of the U.S. And these intrepid sailors almost turned back and aborted their voyage, but at the last minute, after much bailing of water, they decided to push on, and they found a way to seal the crack, and they made it to Norway safely. This 76-foot long Viking ship has a mast that is 63 feet tall and a 30 by 40 foot mainsail with a 10 by 30 foot topsail. On its voyage to Norway, the ship was manned by a crew of 13 people.